What's up guys, it's Altl Trades here. Welcome to another video. Today I'm just going to be going through my thoughts and ideas in the crypto space and wider markets. So obviously on the side here we had the big sell-off related to the Trump China tariffs, and since that event, which we'd never really seen such a large liquidation cascade in a short amount of time occurred. The market's been consolidating, and it's been really lacking any real liquidity, because when an event like that occurs, lots of people get taken out and the books just take time to fill back up. So when we've had moves up, what we found is that they are often lacking momentum to go any higher, so they roll over and go lower. And when we have these large pushes like over here, they are news based, and the reason why the news has such an impact on this market right now is because it's unstable. You don't see these kind of things occurring in the stock market, even though everyone is exposed to the same news, and that is because, generally speaking, people are in the market. It's a lot harder to manipulate, and it takes something really big like a tariff announcement at the very beginning of Trump's presidency to cause such a large pullback. So why is crypto lacking any sort of momentum? Why are we suffering? Now, why is a Trump tweet about tariffs able to have such a big impact? Well, for as long as gold is progressing, and gold's been on a really strong run for a long period of time, as long as gold, which is a low risk asset, is making people money, then why are they going to bother flowing their money out of gold and into high risk assets like cryptocurrency? So at the start of the week, I marked out these levels, and we could see that look, when we are faced with a resistance, it takes time to beat it. For a while, the 3,500 was a strong resistance. Eventually, when you break it, you then can go on a nice run. And at 4,000, a nice psychological level, there was a bit of resistance here, but eventually it quite easily got back up. And now at 4.35, price put in a double top, and it pulled back, and it's consolidating above 4,000. Most likely this chart is going to go higher. So when gold is going up, Bitcoin suffers, and when gold is sort of consolidating / pulling back, Bitcoin prospers. Now we can see this reflected in the Zhao BTC chart, which basically compares the relationship between gold and Bitcoin. And you can see here, right, that in 2021, the top of the market in crypto, after that top, it bottomed here, and gold's performance against Bitcoin was stronger. And since the top on gold, let's say, Bitcoin's been performing stronger, but we've now hit that same level. So the question is, have we topped? Well, I still have some confidence that crypto will go higher and Bitcoin will, and we are at this massive monthly macro support here, and so price did in the week reject at that high, and as you saw, gold is pulling back, Bitcoin is now gaining a little bit of strength. So are we gonna sort of watch the chart come down to here kind of thing and then go up, or are we going to get a smaller pullback and then flip, and then the performance of gold will be superior to Bitcoin? So only time will tell. It's not as simple as just this though. There is also government policy in America which has a huge impact. There's currently quantitative tightening. They're holding on to a lot of their assets in America, and they really need to start providing liquidity to the market. So how they do that in these market cycles is they shift from quantitative tightening to quantitative easing, which then helps the risk assets perform better. So there are a lot of factors at play here. This right here shows the money flowing into the dollar not dollar price, but how much money's flowing in. And we can see during the bear market, the dollar had a higher volume of money being moved into it, and during the top of the bull run it was down here in 21. And so we're only here right now. So is it possible that we reach those levels from 21 where the markets are so bullish that not many people have their money in the dollar? Or are we gonna not reach that because of other, macro factors like the wars going on in the world, the tariff news? Are we never gonna get back to those levels? So it's up to you to decide. But it's just interesting to think that, we're not even here, right? So even though the gold chart has the Zhao BTC chart has reached that level from 2021, the dollar is still got a lot of money within it, basically. So are we going to go lower, or is it not this time? And so I think that is everything. The last thing I'll just mention is the total cryptocurrency chart. This is the market cap of all cryptocurrencies, and you can see here that we reached 4.2 trillion and we have pulled back. Right now, within my strategy, within sort of support resistance trading, supply and demand, you want to be buying cryptocurrencies on support and selling at resistance. You don't want to be a buyer at resistance, because all those people that bought up here, they've been in a loss since price has been down here. So the uncomfortable thing is to buy things when people aren't interested, because that is when things are of most value. And so my question to you is, are we just creating, the next lower high? Because this is a lower high, this is a lower high, right here, lower high, lower high, lower high, before, sorry, higher low, higher low, higher low, before we create the next higher high, higher low, and then the market falls back. So do we ever think crypto is going to get to 5 trillion? Because if it is, then this is as good of a buying opportunity as you can get. Obviously, you don't just buy on support. That's not a good strategy. You need to have other triggers and be aware of the market. But it just gives you that kind of idea of the psychology of buying high and versus buying low. Everyone wants to buy high, but they're not interested at buying low. So one thing to note, this is the total market cap, right? Now if you look at the market cap excluding, right, Bitcoin and Ethereum, you can see it's performed poorly. So it shows that altcoins actually are not performing as well as Bitcoin and Ethereum. So in this market, I've mentioned it before, but there are a lot of altcoins compared to 2021. And so it's probably unlikely that all the altcoins in the market will just go up when Bitcoin does. In the past, if Bitcoin went up, everything went up. You could hold on to anything. But in this market, it's not like that anymore, because there's just too much shit in the market. So only the top coins seem to perform. The ones maybe related to ETFs, or the ones with a big fundamental, or meme coins that are of a lot of interest. So we've got to this sort of resistance here, and now we are pulling back. So it's just interesting, because if you compare that chart to the market cap, it just shows you how much of the market cap is in Bitcoin and Ethereum and how they've performed well. But the total 3, which excludes Bitcoin and Ethereum, has not performed as well. And then further to that, this chart, the others chart, which excludes all of the top 10 cryptocurrencies here, it's performed terribly. So it's not clear lower high, I'm sorry, you know, we're not creating the bullish price action, which would be like this. Yeah, we're actually sort of going sideways. So it shows you holding these non-top 10 cryptocurrencies is not that beneficial in the short term. And I just want to show you one other good technique to just assess sort of where we are within a market. So we have on CoinMarketCap, which I believe is also owned by Binance. We have a crypto fear and greed index, and you can see that we're currently in fear. Now, it might be surprising, but often we actually want to be buying into fear and extreme fear and selling into greed and extreme greed, because as I've told you, we want to be buying things when they're undervalued, and that often is when people are fearful and selling. And we want to be almost behaving like the smart money. They buy low and they sell high. We don't want to be buying at tops. So when you look at this index, we can see we're in fear. We've been here for quite a while now. We were as low as I think 28 this week, which is pretty low. And we can see this chart above is the price of Bitcoin. Whenever we're in fear, the price tends to be lower than when we're in sort of greed. So we can use this chart just to see whether we want to be buying and selling. However, you should note that ETF buyers have been buying Bitcoin for a while now, and the price has become less volatile than in the past because big funds are now involved. But it's a good indicator to see market sentiment and whether you want to be buying and selling. And finally, the altcoin season index, which just tracks the performance of the top 100 altcoins relative to Bitcoin over the last 90 days. And you can see Bitcoin's completely outperforming. Yes, we're not hitting, you know, new all-time highs at the moment, but it's a lot more stable, and the weakness is seen really in the betas, the altcoins. So that is kind of reflective of gold performing, kind of reflective of there being instability and uncertainty, that the least risky asset is performing the best. But just to close off now, you should know that Bitcoin going as high as it can is good for the market. It draws in more confidence, it draws in more liquidity, and then once Bitcoin tops and people are satisfied with their gains, they sell. And those people who missed out then look to try and experience the same gains, and you have this flowing of money from the risky cryptocurrencies, or rather the least risky cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin, Ethereum, blue chips, into the small caps. So are we going to get there? I hope. With these indicators, we're still at the beginning and there's time, so we'll see. So I hope you enjoyed that video. Let me know if you have any questions. Really appreciate you guys who are watching, and I'm also enjoying this process.